When you're just getting started with Drupal, one of the first things that you're going to do is get a Drupal environment set up on your computer. One of the quickest ways to do this is with Acquia Dev Desktop. So in the following videos, what we're going to do is demonstrate how to import a site into Acquia Dev Desktop, how to use additional distributions through Acquia Dev Desktop, and finally how to connect a site locally to the Acquia Cloud Free service. Now the reason we're focusing on Acquia technology is because, as of now, Acquia provides one of the most seamless ways to actually get a site up and running without being connected to the internet, and also spin up a free Drupal site that you can eventually push to a production site that can be your actual live project. For our purposes here on Build a Module, this provides us the exact tools that we need to get started and start learning. But this in no way means that you're tied to Acquia as a production host. You can take your project from Dev Desktop or from the cloud service and port it to some other host if you'd like. There are definitely some advantages to going with a web host that focuses on Drupal, but we'll get into the reasons why a little bit later after we have our Drupal environment set up. The process of installing Acquia Dev Desktop is very similar for both the Mac and for Windows, so we'll just do it once on Mac, but a little bit later we're going to talk about how to install public-private keys, and the process will be a little bit different for each, so we'll split that out into two videos, one to focus on Mac, one to focus on Windows. And something to note here is that we're downloading Acquia Dev Desktop 2, which looks a little bit different and is a lot more intuitive than the original Acquia Dev Desktop. So to begin with, go ahead and select the download button for the operating system that you use. And from your browser, you should be able to open up the application. On Mac, I'm going to double-click the .app file. On Windows, it will be a .exe. When the first screen comes up, we'll click Next. We'll click Next again. You can review the license if you'd like. I'm going to click Next. And I'm going to leave the location where we're installing this, but I'm going to change the location where I want Dev Desktop to save my websites. So I'll click the folder icon, and I'm going to create a new folder here. You can choose whatever you'd like for this. I'll click Choose, and then Next. I'm going to leave the ports as is for now. If you know what you're doing, you can change these if you need to. What I've found so far in working with Dev Desktop is that it doesn't conflict with other stacks, like if you're using WAMP or MAMP, additional stacks that provide the Apache MySQL PHP setup. Dev Desktop seems to make sure that we're not going to use a port that's already in use. So we'll leave this and click Next, Next again, and then Next one more time to install. It will take a minute to run through the installation process, so let's fast forward. When Dev Desktop starts, you have some options here to start out with, but you can access these same options outside of this overlay, so don't worry about just closing it and going straight into the application. We're going to do that here.